Hello everyone, Tim Gamer here, and today I have the pleasure of bringing you another one of my Dota 2 gameplay videos. Now this game I'm going to be playing as Crystal Maiden, and I'm going to be using this as an opportunity to not only show you the hero, but talk a little bit about supporting in Dota 2, because supporting and the idea of being a support is something that a lot of new players don't understand. As far as they're concerned, supporting involves buying the wards and the courier, and possibly not even the wards, but certainly buying the courier unless they're really a new player, and then that's basically it. But Crystal Maiden, let's talk a little bit about the hero first. Crystal Maiden is a really popular support hero at the moment. She's first pick and first ban material occasionally in pro games, and if you watch a series of 5 pro games between two teams at the moment, chances are you'll see Crystal Maiden in 3, possibly even 4 of them though. She really is a very popular support, and the reason why, well, I'll get into that a little bit as we go along, but first things first, let's talk a little bit about the starting item build. Now, I was quite fortunate in this situation because we've got another support who's Shadow Shaman, who's gone out and bought the wards and the courier, which is really nice. So it's enabled me to be a little bit more greedy with my starting item builds than I normally would. Now normally you wouldn't have the opportunity to buy this magic stick because if I was going to buy some sentries or whatever, if there was a broodmother in lane or a bounty hunter or someone along those lines, or wanted to do a little bit of camp blocking, I would have sacked off that magic stick and bought the sentries. But because the other support bought wards and the courier, I've bought a Smoke of Deceit, and you'll see me use that to success in a little bit, which is another item new players never ever touch. And I remember this, for the first like 200 games I played, I never ever touched this item at all, and it's taken me quite a while to actually begin to use it efficiently or even slightly better. So that's a good item to talk about in a little bit. But you can see there, these are very standard support items. Regen, you want one clarity's nice until you get a few points in Crystal Maiden's aura. This is a quick pause. He will be back soon. This is my mate. He has terrible internet on Dota. See, there we go. He'll be back in capital letters for some reason. I think that was a slip, but great items to get on support. You want to have sustainability in lane and possibly a couple of Vinewood branches just to help with the stats, but that's not really that important as a Crystal Maiden because the vast majority of your utility comes from your spells. Let's talk about your spells one at a time. Now the first one, which is always a nice one to level up first, is Crystal Nova, and this is a large AoE spell. You can see the cast range highlighted on screen there. It is a 700 cast range, which is quite nice, and it is a 400 radius ability. It's a magic nuke. It does 100 damage at level 1, which is quite nice, but the major benefits of this is a movement slow and an attack slow. So you can initiate from a very long way away, and actually managed to pick off a kill there, nice and easy, with the early rotation with the illusion rune there from Shadow Shaman. But, just beginning to start the pull there, which actually messed up very slightly. But let's talk about Crystal Nova. Very good. As you can see, I've got a bit of a build up here which gives you a little bit of an overview of the abilities as well. It is absolutely fantastic as a long range initiation because you can come in, you can cast this on someone, you have a movement slow and you have an attack slow for them as well, and you can close down and use your second spell in a little bit, but I'll get onto that as we go along. Very useful as a ranged initiation because it has a long range and a long radius as well. So not only can you cast this a long way away, it has a huge margin for error. You can hit multiple heroes with this, slow their movement speed by quite a substantial amount, as well as slowing their attack speed down. And I've decided to put a bit of a lane ward in here because we've got the early kill on Wind Ranger. She's very easy for us to kill. If you look at our lane, I'll just go to free camera for the moment, not player perspective. If you look at our lane, we've got Life Stealer. He has open wounds, which is a movement slow. We have Shadow Shaman, he has Shackles, which is an ability which holds people in position for nearly 3 seconds at level 1. He has a Hex, so we have another disable there. And come back over to me, we've got another movement slow on me and an attack speed slow, and then we have another pseudo disable in Frostbite as well. So we've got so many disables in lane. If we can get a wraparound on Wind Ranger, she's flat out dead. She's 100% dead. So that's why this is a really good ward spot here. Sometimes you see it a little bit further out there, but anywhere in this is good because it enables us to keep pretty much 100% knowledge of where she is. She could be sitting under tower, she could come right up to lane, she could come into side shop, and she could even begin to flit around the side of the jungle and we would know where she is. And this is what I'm doing here. I'm just waiting for her to come up, trying to get a kill, and she casts Wind Run. I cast Frostbite on her and scare her off a little bit. I've used a lot of mana here, but already, that was pretty much a failed gank, and look how close I got to killing her just on my own. And we've already taken up a lot of her regen. She's got no salves or clarities left. She's only got a few tangos. Now she's going to have a very, very limited utility in the lane. And this is what makes Crystal Maiden such a strong support, especially in the early game, but she definitely has utility throughout the entire match, is her ganking ability. And you actually saw in my second spell, and this is lagging very, very slightly here, I'm not sure why. Let's go back to player perspective. Ah, there we go. That was convenient, wasn't it? Lifesteal was actually lagging the game, so the game started to lag in the replay. How fun was that? But let's talk about your second skill here, Frostbite. And you saw me use that in the gank. Frostbite actually holds an enemy in place. It doesn't stun them, so they can still use abilities, but they cannot move. Now, the very, very good thing about Frostbite as well is it disables true blink abilities, and true blink is the inverted comma abilities. What this counts as, it's Nature's Prophet's teleport, it's Anti-Mage's blink, it is Queen of Pain's blink, and there's the blink dagger. Those are the 4 things it cancels. It doesn't cancel things like Morphling's waveform, where he just goes into the ground and shoots forward. That won't get stopped by it. It doesn't stop things like Phantom Assassin's Phantom Strike, when she blinks onto a target. So you've got to bear that in mind. But it stops Wind Ranger from wind running away. It stops Anti-Mage from blinking. It's a really, really useful ability. So what you normally do is you initiate with a Crystal Nova due to the very, very long range and radius. Then you wander up, you cast Frostbite second to hold them in place. And then by that time, the rest of the enemy should either be dead, your teammates have arrived for support, etc, etc. So that's the basic combination of spells you have. As you level it up, the damage stays the same. It's just a flat 70 damage, but the duration goes up. So you can hold a player in place for up to 3 seconds at max level, which is really, really nice. So you have a 3.5 second movement speed slow, and then you have a 1.5 second movement stop, basically. So it's not a stun, but you stop people from moving, and that's very, very useful. And as you can see, our Shadow Shaman disconnected again, but he'll be back very, very soon. And he keeps having these problems with his internet. It's very, very bad. But those are the first 2 skills, and just a basic overview of how to use them. Let's move on to Arcane Aura. And this is another reason why Crystal Maiden is a very, very popular support. This is a global passive ability which gives mana regen to every single friendly unit on the map. So creeps are included in this, but it's not really their benefit. The major benefit is to allied heroes, and you can see I picked up 111 is a pretty nice skill build to go, because all of these are very, very useful abilities. And you can see there, Wind Ranger gets very, very aggressive here. Just get enough mana for Frostbite, and now she's in super, super trouble. And she's probably going to die here. There we go. That was a really easy kill. Just I was speaking earlier just how easy it is for us 3 in lane to kill Wind Ranger, and you saw just how easy it was there. We had a life stealer on about half health. At the start of that engagement, I didn't have enough mana for any of my spells, yet we still managed to kill Wind Ranger, and that was even without Shadow Shaman being there. That's because of all of these slows, all of the disables we have, and I actually used the salve I have on Lifestealer letters to give him more survivability in lane, because he's called Lifestealer, so the clue's in the name there that he does have lifesteal and he can keep himself in lane. But if he gets ganked, gets caught by surprise, him sitting there on 100 HP is not good at all, and he's a hard carry. We're devoting 2 of our supports to protect him. We don't want him to die, and this is always very, very useful to do as support. You buy your regen, but look at me here. I'm pretty much full health. I've already got 2 tangos left. I may as well use my salve to keep my carry in lane. We see Viper doing pretty well against OD there, but that's basically the 3 core abilities of Crystal Maiden. But before I talk about Crystal Maiden's ultimate, let's talk about Smoke of Deceit. And as you can see there, I've just used the item that I pointed out at the start of the video. Now, Smoke of Deceit, what it does is it grants you conditional invisibility. So what I mean by that is you are invisible to things like wards, sentry wards, anything along those lines. But you will be revealed when you come within 1025, I think the distance is, of enemy heroes or towers. So you saw what we did there. We cast it. I'll just go to free camera. We smoked up here, because this is a really, really common ward location. Any of these could be warded. You see, we have our friendly ward there. And the reason is, there's a rune spawn there. This is the entrance to Roshan, a very, very key objective come the mid-game to late game. or sometimes early game if you go for a very, very early medallion or something like that, you can roach pretty early. So it's very, very common to have this sort of area of the map warded, and the same on the other side, you know, very, very common to have this area of the map warded. So what Smoke of Deceit does is it grants you invisibility against these wards. It's very, very key. You know, we used it there, so if they did have a ward up here or here, we wouldn't have smoked up in the vicinity of the ward. So we walked through a very, very common ward location invisibly, and then we ganked OD with surprise in mid. And it turns out that they didn't have any wards here, but we didn't know that at the time. So it's much safer in these sorts of situations to buy smoke and get the gank. And it also grants you increased movement speed as well, so you can close the gap very, very quickly. And by the time you've got into that sort of, you know, get back into player perspective here briefly. There we go. By the time you've got into that situation, you know, it's too late for the guy. And this is a pretty big tower dive here. We pick up a kill, use a frostbite to hold another guy in, and then this is the time to run away. Now that was a big tower dive there. This the Viper's probably dead. He gets glimpsed back by Disruptor, and that's the end of him. But that's still 2 kills top. I assisted out with CM. And this is something you need to do as Crystal Maiden. You definitely need to do this. You need to be active around the map. You know, Crystal Maiden's major strength is as a ganker. You know, she's got very, very long range initiation. She doesn't have particularly high base damage, but she's got lots of very, very useful spells. She's got a Mana Aura as well, which enables, you know, people to keep active around the map because they have their spells more often. So you see CM paired with mana dependent heroes. Think of heroes like Slardar, Sven, any of the heroes along those lines. They have a lot of very, very useful spells, but very, very small mana pools. And that's a big problem because you can go in, you can cast a lot of your spells, and all of a sudden, boom, you're out of mana, and that's your usefulness gone. So this is why you need to be very, very active. And we've also got, you know, a Kotl there. In Keeper of the Light, if you're a new player and you haven't heard the phrase Kotl before, but he has an ability to grant mana to either himself or to allies as well. So we've got such a mana strat this game, so much mana being thrown out. And if you look at our heroes, you know, Shadow Shaman's another guy, a lot of very, very useful spells. He will certainly benefit from the Mana Aura, and this is time for me to run away now. I see a Disruptor going aggressive on me. I don't really know where a lot of the enemy heroes are. You know, we've had a PA in lane who's just gone missing. Obviously, she has an ability which grants her invisibility on the minimap occasionally, so I can't see her on the minimap. Just run. Get out of there. You know, I've got a few levels of EXP in there. I helped my mid player get a couple of kills, and now it's time for me to be active around the map again. And I'm sort of sitting mid. You know, I saw OD get a little bit aggressive on Viper there. And, you know, this is a very, very big dive again. I'm just going to see what I can do. And I Crystal Nova the guy down. Probably shouldn't have done that. You know, it was a debatable kill still. But in this situation, you know, the one thing that new players always seem to do is they're very, very greedy with their spells. If you look at a player like Lion or Alina, they have huge magic nukes, and what they always do is they always look at a guy and think, my spell does 700 damage. I'm going to wait for a guy to get on 699 health before I cast it, and that's a really, really bad way to do. It's always better in a situation like that. You know, it's an Outworld Devourer. He is a hero who can snowball very, very dangerously if he's left to his own devices mid. That was an opportunity to kill him. Just blow him up. Blow that guy up, get the kill. You know, don't be greedy with your ultimates, just kill the guy. It's much more, you know, if I hadn't have cast Crystal Nova and Viper had cancelled his animation by mistake and OD had got an Astral off and ran away, we would have gone there and I would have been sitting there thinking, if only I'd have Crystal Nova'd that guy, then he would have been dead. You know, it's definitely worth, if you're a little bit unsure, blow the guy up and run away. And if a guy goes, you kill stole, you kill stole, you kill stole, you know, just go, well, at least he died. At least, you know, he didn't get away. Situations where it's not okay to do things like that, if there are another 3 friendly heroes mid and there was only 1 hero there, there's no way it would have been a good idea for me to, you know, be able to just nuke the guy down. And that would be a kill still. But in that situation, with diving past mid tower, Viper's already taken a fair amount of health loss. Kill the guy, definitely kill him. But you see again here, picked up a really, really easy kill. We started to push the mid tower. You know, saw that, you know, Wind Ranger was still there. Could go up. I Crystal Nova'd her, firstly, to slow her down. She tried to wind run away, but the Crystal Nova slow applied to slow her down. Then I got the Frostbite. And then OD got into range, not OD, sorry, Lifestealer got into range, and that was it. And I actually managed to kill the bear there, which gave me 360 gold. It's basically a hero kill. Killing Lone Druid's bear, there he is. If you kill that spirit bear, that is a huge amount of gold, and it puts it on cooldown for 2 minutes. So if you can kill that bear, it's really, really useful. It's definitely worth nuking him down if you have the opportunity, because like I say, it's basically a hero's kill worth of gold. And now I am a very, very rich support. I am 2-0-4 after 11 minutes. Helped out with a lot of kills, got a couple of successful ganks off, both top and bottom. And now I'm in a situation where I have a huge amount of gold. And you can see there, I've just gone a little bit of a splurging spree. But let's talk about the item I built first. And this is a core item on Crystal Maiden. It's the Tranquil Boots. Now, Tranquil Boots, let's get that out of the way so you can see more of the map, are very, very useful on CM because it gives her huge amounts of movement speed, it gives her a little bit of armor, and it gives a great HP regen. Because look at Crystal Maiden, look how squishy she is. You know, this is basically 2 nukes worth of damage. If you get caught in melee range, or if you get caught by an enemy carry, or a couple of spells, you are dead. So this passive health regeneration and armor is really, really useful. However, the problem with Tranquil Boots are, whenever you attack or get attacked, you lose the HP regeneration and 30 of the movement speed for 13 seconds. So what this means is, this is really, really useful for Crystal Maiden to go and participate in a fight, get her spells off, gank, and then retreat, wait for the Tranquil Boots to come off cooldown. You see here, this is the broken phase of the Tranquil Boots. It's very, very visually obvious. You have a timer, they go brown instead of green. It's very, very easy to tell. You wait for them to go off, and then all of a sudden, look at my mana regen bar and the health regen bar. Boom, it's recovered, regaining all the HP, and now I'm full health and I'm moving around the map again. You know, this is why Tranquil Boots are super useful on Crystal Maiden. It gives you huge amounts of mobility because she's quite a slow, squishy hero at times. So it enables you to close in, get your spells off, perhaps get a few right-click attacks off, then you retreat out and regen up, and then you're available for a gank soon without going back to base. Because don't forget, you've got your Arcane Aura, your Mana Regen Aura, which helps you and your teammates out. Very, very useful. And you have the Tranquil Boots for the health regen aura. And I can see OD coming on me here, and this is the time to run away. And that was pretty decent map awareness there. You know, look at the minimap here. There's no enemy heroes on the minimap. And then out of nowhere, I saw OD rush at me. And in this situation, it's a, oh dear, you need to get out of here sort of thing. I cast Frostbite and PA. Fortunately for me, she had her Phantom Strike on cooldown there, but it didn't really help Shadow Shaman out. He still died, and we're trying to set up for a tower defense here. Now, that was a little bit overzealous there, but the good thing is here, we kept our Viper alive. You know, they picked off a support. It's not the end of the world. It's much more vital for us to keep our core heroes alive. And when I talk about core heroes, because, you know, I'm trying to put these guides out to help newer players. You know, if you're a 5-year veteran of Dota 2, you know, it would still be helpful to watch this video, but you know, this is really designed to help players out. So core heroes are basically your heroes who you're looking to farm up. They're the bigger damage dealers. You know, so in this lineup, the cores are definitely Lifestealer and Viper. You know, these are the 2 guys that come the mid and the late game, we're really relying on them to do the major damage for us and be the massive threats. If you look at the enemy team, their core heroes are the OD, who is mid, there he is, the Phantom Assassin, who is their safe lane farmer, and then Lone Druid, who sort of just like floated all around the map. You know, he's a little bit of an awkward laner in this part of the game. But those are the core heroes. So your major role as a Crystal Maiden support, and this is the key thing about being a support, it's to help your core heroes survive in the early games. That's why I was babysitting Lifestealer bottom. And then as soon as you can, go out there and get ganks to help your cores out. So you saw we got 1 kill bottom to help out Lifestealer. Then I went and ganked mid with Shadow Shaman under a Smoke of Deceit to help Viper out. So we gained our core another kill. That is 1 dead Carl as well, yeah. I TP'd, but there was just no way. Once they cast the Disruptor ultimate on him as well, he was just so boned it was untrue. You know, this is the thing as support. You have to be active. Gotta be active on the map. You see a lot of new people, they just sit in the jungle and they pull for a very, very long time. And what I'm actually going to do is do a pulling and stacking tutorial at some point, so you guys can have a much more in-depth guide now. So I didn't just want to brush over pulling in about 30 seconds. I much rather, sorry, get my words out there. Much rather talk about, you know, the broad outlines of what you're looking to do as support, because Crystal Maiden's a very, very good one. So it's always a good thing to watch a CM play and see how you're supposed to use the hero a little bit more. But you see here, this is another really, really important thing. There's not really much going on the map at the moment. We've had one of our guys die mid. There was a lane free. And this is key. Supports, they are so low down farm priority. Really, really low. Because like I mentioned, the heroes you're looking to protect are your core heroes. So it's Lifestealer at the bottom lane and Viper in the middle. They get farm priority. As soon as Viper returns to this lane, he gets all the last hits. He needs to get his items before I need to get mine. Because at the end of the day, what's going to win you a game more? Is it going to be an Urn on Crystal Maiden, or is it going to be a Shadow Blade on Viper, or an Aghanim Scepter on Viper, or an Assault Cuirass on Lifestealer? Those sorts of items. And that's why you need to be a little bit more passive. And I actually saw that guy get wards there, so I buy sentries. And this is another thing, key support 101. I saw Windrunner put that ward down there, and I saw her run into jungle carrying another ward. I clicked on her inventory and saw she was carrying them, so I immediately buy sentries to de-ward. This is a very, very fresh ward. You can see it's only just been placed. I come out and I put sentry wards down, and sentry wards, there you go, reveal the ward for you, and you get the kill. And it's 50 gold. It's very, very nice. You get the 50 gold, but most importantly, you deny the enemy vision. And I saw this ward here as well, because I saw Crystal Maiden, not Crystal Maiden, sorry, Windrunner ran this way through the map right there, and then she came out not carrying a ward. And that is a very, very common ward spot. So those are two of the most common ward spots in the game. So I just went straight there, de-warded. So that's one set of wards completely wasted for the enemy team. Completely and utterly wasted. And the wards are on cooldown, of course, don't forget. So this means that for the next 6-7 minutes possibly, they aren't going to have any vision on the map at all. And that is huge. That is an absolutely huge bonus for the team. It really, really is. So that means they have no idea where we are unless we show in the lane, and we have a good opportunity of catching them out if they choose to gank or if they choose to roam because of our decent ward vision. So look at this here. I'll just go to free camera a little bit, because that's at one dead Viper top. I'm not sure what they were doing being so aggressive there. But if you have a look here, we've lost our tier 1 tower bottom. It's gone there. But what we've done there, we've put a ward up here, and we've put a ward up here. And this covers the main route into the our jungle. So the enemies can come from this way into the jungle, that way, or they can wrap around this little bit and run into here, or possibly they could come around here and into that part of the jungle. Any other way they come, they're probably going to be spotted by creeps, or we've still got our tower up mid, so they'll see them. These wards protect our jungle because we've got heroes that rely on a lot of farm. Obviously, Livestreaming, I pointed him out earlier, he's dead at the moment, but these are the guys we want to protect. So let's go to free cam and let's get the gold graphs up. The XP is pretty even, but if you have a look at the gold graphs, we are pulling ahead. And this is because we've managed to protect our carries well. They've got a bit of farm. We've managed to get a few good ganks off to try and put the enemy cores behind. You see here, I'm just sitting there, I'm protecting Lifestealer. He's pretty safe. That ward's just gone down, so it's one of those things. Rather be a little bit safe here. Lifestealer's here. It's a good opportunity for me to come and get a little bit of experience. He wanders off to farm the jungle. I'm going to sit here, and I'm not going to nuke the creep wave down at the moment because Lifestealer might want to come back and get this. But I'm just going to... there we go. Absolutely typical. But the good news is Lifestealer was actually going to the jungle camp, so this is a good opportunity for me to get a bit of farm. Once I saw Lifestealer wander up north, then I nuked it down. So it's a good opportunity. There we go. Talked myself out of that hole. As a support, like I mentioned earlier, you are so low down the farm priority. Whenever you get a chance to sit in the lane and get a little bit of farm, definitely do it. And look where it is. The lane is very, very safe here. It's pretty safe there. We see a couple of enemy heroes on the top. Shadow Shaman's far too far up there on his own. He shouldn't be there and died. But that was a good opportunity for me to get a few levels. And it's got me to a level 11 now. Managed to get a point in Freezing Field. And I got myself a little bit more gold. So now I've actually leveled up Freezing Field, let's talk about it. It's a very, very powerful ultimate. But the problem is it's a channeled ability. It's channeled for up to 7 seconds. And it does explosions of damage every 0.1 second in that massive radius. And you see the radius there, it's quite large. And you'll see me try and get it off in a couple of team fights. And theoretically, this can be one of the most damaging spells in the entirety of Dota. If you have an Aghanim Scepter, I think it can do up to 21,000 damage, which is just a huge amount. You know, it's a ridiculous amount. But the problem comes with, look at Crystal Maiden there, 948 health. Come the late game, you have carries who crit more than that. So I can be one-shot by a lot of carries coming into the mid-game. And also, because it's a channeled ability, stuns, hexes, anything like that can cancel my ultimate. So it's very, very, very rare for you to be able to get a full channeled ultimate off. It's basically impossible. And you see later on in the game, I get an item which will help me do that, and we'll come on to that in a little bit. But at this stage of the game, it's really, really unlikely that you'll be able to do that. It's much more important that you max out Crystal Nova, Frostbite, and possibly get 2 points in Arcane Aura before you do that. Because those are the spells that will absolutely help you out. And I tried to TP top, managed to get a kill on Lone Druid just before Viper dies. But again, Viper, he got dived on top by 2. I tried to react with the TP to save him. I didn't manage to save him, but we managed to get him a kill before he died. So he gets a bit of the XP and the gold, and the guy we killed, which is Lone Druid, doesn't get any. And Shadow Shaman rotates top, and now if we catch this Disruptor, he dies. The hasted Shadow Shaman, he's looking for him. Never mind, he got out. So that was quite nice from Disruptor there, thinking on his feet. But this is why, as a support, getting around the map is really, really crucial. You saw there, I TP'd in to help Viper, and yeah, my TP didn't keep him alive, but it got him a kill. So I spent 150 gold to get Viper a kill, which he probably wouldn't have got without me being there. And then we forced Disruptor back, and now me and Shadow Shaman can sit in the lane and get a little bit of free XP, free farm, if I don't miss the last hit, which I'm due because I'm terrible. But you see, I'm nearly level 12 now. Bought ourselves a little bit of space on the map. We've scared off one of their supports, forced him to TP. And look at where the enemy team are. They're all sitting in their jungle at the moment. They are really, really scared. And look at what we're doing here. We've got heroes who've just farmed top lane. We've got our Lifestealer roaming around the map farming. We've got a guy mid. We've got Viper getting very, very aggressive in their jungle, trying to look for a solo pick-off. This is the benefit of being active in the game. Because we were so active early, getting off those ganks, we have scared their enemy team a little bit. And that's very, very useful. And you can see now the gold graph, it's fairly steady, but you can see it's beginning to arc upwards in our favour. And the most important thing, you see we're beginning to open up an XP thing. We were pretty far behind in the XP, but because we've been active, we had a couple of guys feed a little bit, but because we've been active there, we've actually managed to turn it around a little bit nicely. And I get caught in the Disruptor ult, which is absolutely painful as a Crystal Maiden. Managed to one just a little bit to stay alive. That's a really good shot. I'm so boned here. There we go. Absolutely boned. This was a pretty strange fight to take for us. We managed to kill Lone Druid in the end. I'm just having a look around. But that was a bit of a strange fight for us to take. Fighting uphill in the middle of the enemy jungle. Our Viper went really balls to the wall there, and we went to try and back him up and support him. The good news is we do manage to turn it around a little bit here again. The great mana burn stun, mana leak I think it's called from Cottle. Great mana leak stun there from Cottle on her. And this is a Disruptor dying. So at the end of the day, I died and we got 4 kills for it. So it started off really, really dodgily. But it's getting to the stage of the game now where I am very, very squishy. Like I mentioned earlier, it's very likely for me to die in a fight because I still have less than 1,000 health. And I had a really, really good early game. You saw how much gold I'd managed to get. I managed to buy a large amount of items. I managed to buy an Urn of Shadows. Got the Tranquil Boots for regen. Urn of Shadows is very, very nice on Crystal Maiden as well because it gives you a lot of stats. Gives you 6 strength, and I think for every point of strength you get, that's 19 extra HP. So that's a very, very nice amount of HP to give you. 4 staff as well I've managed to pick up now, which I'll talk on a little bit as I begin to see me use it a little bit more in these fights, because 4 staff's a very, very useful survival item on CM as well. But I'm a relatively farmed Crystal Maiden here. I've had a pretty decent early game, and I'm still getting completely wrecked in team fights, and this is the problem. This is why I was saying about freezing field. Yes, theoretically it's very, very powerful, but in practice it's not really fantastic because you die a lot of the time before you have a chance to use it. And again, our Viper is just being so aggressive there. Fortunately, the cavalry arrives. If he just gave us like 15 seconds to get there, this fight would have gone so much better, but I get it off, and here comes the ultimate. This is what Freezing Field looks like, and just look at the damage that did. Yeah, and I might as well just keep it channel for the full duration, just for the nice animation. But that did a huge amount of damage. I walked in, PA was about half HP, Lone Druid was about half HP, so was his bear, and I just destroyed them. They absolutely died, because by that stage they had used all of their disables. They didn't have their Disruptor ultimate anymore, they didn't have anything to break my channel, they didn't have any stuns, didn't have any hexes, so I went in at the right time and then cast the ultimate. This is the really key thing. The first things you want to get off in a team fight with Crystal Maiden are your Nova and then your Frostbite. Those are your key abilities, because they're big AoEs, they're very useful. If you can hit their entire team with a 20% attack speed slow and a 30% movement speed slow, when you're up against a person like a Lifestealer who needs to be able to close the gap to be effective, that's huge, and that's really huge. So get that off first. Then if you can Frostbite someone, and the key person to Frostbite in this game is actually the Lone Druid bear. Because if I can Frostbite that bear and keep it locked in position during the middle of a fight, that's a huge amount of damage lost. Because the bear actually does a huge amount of damage if you've got a few good items on him. So, and we see this Disruptor. That Disruptor's so dead. Alright, so we stack Frostbite a little bit there. A little bit unfortunate, but here comes Viper. He's got his Manta style. And we're still pursuing pretty hard there. This is probably going to be more kills. In fact, it's definitely going to be more kills. Lifestealer gets the kills there. Cottle, I think, robs the last one. Yeah, he manages to get Wind Ranger down. But, again, we take Roche because we've won a good team fight. And then all of the slows begin to really line up on top of each other, pile up and really screw teams over. Because we've got a slow on Viper, got a slow on Lifestealer, got a slow on Crystal Maiden. And then we've got so much disable from me and Shadow Shaman on top of that with the Frostbite, the Hex and the Shackle. We're beginning to snowball a little bit now. And this is the great thing. Be active early in the game. Killed the Spirit Bear yet again. That's on cooldown for another minute. So that's a huge pick-off. It was really bad of him to let his Spirit Bear be taken out, because that's a huge amount of damage that's now gone from their team. But we're pushing up a little bit now. This is probably going to be a range Rex at least, possibly a melee as well. Viper's just doing his best to keep them pushed away. This is a big dive. This is a really big dive. Frostbite PA. Did she have her? I'm not sure if she had Phantom Strike up there, but either way, she could have Phantom Striked on top of me. It doesn't break that at all. The Frostbite. But we see we're diving deeply and greedily here. And we managed to force them all the way back into their base. They managed to get away. That is so silly from Lifestealer. I suppose he did have Aegis. Shadow Shaman just dying to the enemy fountain there very unnecessarily. Lifestealer dives. So I tried to transfer the aggro to try and save him there, but it's not a thing that I managed to do, unfortunately. But that was a little bit silly there. It was a little bit over-aggressive from Lifestealer. It was a Wind Ranger left on a Ronin base. She cannot defend against us and the Nakes. If Nakes had just stayed alive there, this would have been a guaranteed other lane of Rex. But the problem is, me and Cottle, the only two heroes, are actually left alive at this part of the map. We don't have the damage to bring that down, so that was definitely far too aggressive. And just look now. PA is going to be up in a second. She's up now. OD is just about to come up. Lone Druid's already alive. The most we can do is kill this creep wave, and yeah, we just go, this isn't a good place for us to be anymore. We need to get out of there. So that was far too aggressive from Lifestealer there. Definitely no need to dive that fountain. But if you have a look, we are now 15k gold ahead, and this is so good. We had a decent early game. Managed to get a lot of farm for our cause. We took a few very good team fights. We took Roshan, and then once we'd had the Aegis of the Immortal, we pushed as a team. You're beginning to see the really key ways you can help out as support, because a lot of new players, they think, support, it's a boring style. I don't want to be the guy who buys wards and D wards and helps my carry out. I want to be the guy farming up my 6 divine rapiers and right clicking for 1,000. And yeah, that is nice as well. But being a support, you can be the real difference between success and failure. And definitely helped out a lot in this game with a few nice ganks, a few nice Novas and Frostbites in team fights, and that one really good ultimate just over the Dire Ancients, which is about there. Very, very nice. And this is another fantastic thing about Crystal Maiden at this stage of the game. She's a really, really effective jungler. And this is because Frostbite, it lasts 3 seconds against heroes, but it actually lasts longer against creeps. So it can do up to a maximum of 700 damage. So you can see me begin to kite the the enemy creep camp here. Managed to get a stack off as well, waiting for Nova to come down, and I kill it. And she can really clear camps out very, very effectively. And this is what makes Crystal Maiden useful. Is because if you have a very, very good early game and you get a bit of levels and a bit of farm, you can then jungle yourself to be even more efficient. So at this point, I've got my Urn of Shadows, I've got my Force Staff, and I've got my Tranquil Boots. If you get these in a normal game, you've done very, very well. But because I'm doing... Actually, let's have a look at my gold per minute at the moment. My GPM is 312, which as a support with 0 farm priority is not bad at all. Let's have a look at the gold per minute of a lifesteal. You see, we have 3 heroes at the top there. Our Nakes has pretty much double the CS and the gold per minute of their PA. And this is really, really useful. We've got a pretty scary Viper lifestealer bomb coming up there. But, for a support, this is pretty good level of farm. Now, at this stage, you're looking at a bit more luxury items. If you're behind, because if you look at this game, we're gonna win this game 99 times out of 100. We're pretty well farmed. Our cores are a lot more farmed than their cores are, and we've got very, very useful supports in the late game. And I do get caught out a little bit here. Oh, I'm probably gonna die. Almost certainly gonna die. There we go. Got hit with a crit, unfortunately, from PA's dagger. But she's going to die for her troubles almost certainly. And this is the thing. Lifestealer got focused down. Me and Shadow Shaman got focused down. But at this point in the game, the enemy team don't have the damage to kill both of our supports. So, yeah, they've just burnt everything to kill Lifestealer. But now they've got Viper diving their tier 3 towers and just destroying people. And then we have Cottle just to mech him back up. Cottle can give him mana. This is the stage of the game we're at now. We got a lot of good farm. We put enough pressure on their cores to keep them down, and now we're beginning to win the game because of it. And this is the good thing about a support. If you play a good support game and you put the pressure on the right places and you keep your guys alive and you D-ward and you put the nice observer wards up to help get a few pickoffs here and there, you are a key part of the victory. And this is the mindset you need to get into when you're playing support. It's like, yeah, I'm not the one going 23, 1 and 15. Never mind. I might be going 10, 4 and 8 if I've had a very, very good game of support. But as long as you've got those key pickoffs, you've kept the heroes alive at the right time with a good Force Staff or a good mech. And that was a really nice BKB there. He BKB'd to cancel the glimpse and then Shadow Bladed to survive. So that was a really clutch play from Viper there. But that's what you need to do. And I've come back. I'm going to earn Viper back up to full health. And then we can go back in. But let's talk about now this extension item. Like I mentioned, I'm really, really far ahead here. So I'm going for a BKB. I've already got the Mythal Hammer and the Ogre Club. And I'm just on the recipe now. I'm about 200 gold off the recipe. If you're a long, long way behind, the item you have to get on Crystal Maiden is the Ghost Scepter. It's a core item on her pretty much. Especially in this game when you've got people like a PA, you've got an OD, you've got a Lone Druid, lots of right-click heroes. And probably shouldn't have gone in there, but I would go for the Freezing Field just after Lone Druid actually cast his BKB there. Not the brightest decision of all time, but I'm running away. One, to give myself a little bit more health, and yeah, this is definitely a flee moment. I was thinking about going back there to try and help out, but this is just a runaway moment. Definitely get away here. Not a lot you can do. And that Cottle's so dead. So dead. Fortunately, we managed to keep the courier alive, which is always nice. But once you see Lifestealer go back in, now's the time for me to go and help out. It's not worth me throwing away my life for Cottle, but this Lifestealer's going ham, so Frostbite Wind Ranger, get a good Crystal Nova off, get a kill, and I start to ping on the map here. I'm like, Lifestealer, help me. He's wrecking me. There we go. Force Staff myself away, and Lifestealer cleans up. So that was really, really good awareness from me there. When it was just me and Cottle, I could see Cottle was going to die. There was nothing I could have done there to help out. I ran away. But as soon as Lifestealer went in, Lifestealer very, very farmed at this point. He can really do a lot of damage. That was the moment I went into the team fight. Got a good Nova off to slow. Frostbit Windrunner so she couldn't run away. And then Nake swept up and got a lot of kills. And that's suddenly 4 of the enemy team dead. We've already got 2 lanes of Rex down. Now's the time to win the game. And that pretty much gave me my BKB there. And I've decided to save up for a Blink Dagger because, you know, Blink Dagger, BKB, Freezing Field. How many times do you get to do that on Crystal Maiden? But this is a huge item on a support. If you can get a BKB on a support, you're doing really, really well. Now, the 10-second magic immunity gives you 10 strength as well, so it really does help out with your survivability. I'm now up to 1400 health. That can keep me alive. If I can get a full duration freezing field off in the middle of a big team fight, that is a massive amount of damage. But I didn't get the opportunity because we won the game there, and I was really, really pleased with this support game actually, because I did a lot of things right, and I did make mistakes. You know, you're never going to have a perfect game. But, oh yeah, it was a bit of an anticlimactic ending there. There's no doubt about that. But you know, this is my final score. I'm 4-2-12. You know, very, very good early game ganks. Picked up, you know, very, very key kills on the OD. We got a few nice kills in lane on the Windrunner to give our Lifestealer a good start. I managed to D-ward, got a good smoke gank off. You know, a few great teamfight executions. You know, this is a very, very good game of support. Showed you a lot of things to do. And I hope you've learnt a little bit, because CM is definitely a fun hero to play once you understand just how squishy she is. Because if you go too aggressive, you just get blown up immediately. And she's a hero that's always going to be very, very prone to just getting crit down at any stage of the game. So as long as you can be very, very aware about that, she's a very fun hero to play. But once again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. And as always, have a great